The newest AI models have a thinking dial. You can pay them to think harder before they answer. Everyone thinks, let's turn it up. By the end, you will know why more thinking stops helping, why it can even make the answer worse, and what it costs you in power. When a model thinks, it writes out hidden reasoning before it answers you. In steps you never see, more thinking means more of those steps. The newest models let you choose how many. Google calls it a thinking level. OpenAI calls it a reasoning effort. Picture a line on a graph. The higher it climbs, the better the answer. The further right it goes, the longer the AI thinks. That line shoots up fast at first, then goes flat. The first bit of reasoning takes the model from wrong to roughly right. The next bit cleans up the rough edges. After that, you are paying for thinking that no longer changes the answer. And every extra second mostly turns into heat. On some tasks, it gets worse than flat. That same line bends back down, which means the longer the AI thinks, the worse its answers get. Researchers led by Arya Gemma built test problems where longer thinking made a model less accurate, not more. Given room to keep reasoning, the model talks itself out of a right answer or wanders off after a detail that does not matter. You have done this yourself. You knew the answer, you second-guessed it, and you reasoned your way into the wrong one. Why would more thinking hurt? A longer chain of reasoning is a longer chain of chances to slip. If that sounds like a quirk of AI, it is not. Let me give you an example. Picture an animal working a berry bush. The first handful comes fast to them. As the bush empties, each extra minute gets you less. At some point, you should walk to the next bush because stripping the last few bushes is not worth the time, right? A biologist named Eric Charnoff wrote down the exact moment to leave. The rule: quit when the next minute here would pay you less than an average minute somewhere else. The model thinking about the problem forages the same way. The early reasoning is the first handful. The deep reasoning is the last few berries. Computers playing chess have shown the same thing for decades. Searching one move deeper helps a lot early and barely changes the outcome. Once the search is already deep, it helps to see why the curve bends. When a model reasons one step further, it does not take one step towards a known answer. It opens up a whole tree of new paths to check, and that tree grows fast. Each new step splits into many more. So going one level deeper costs far more than the level before it. Flip that around and you get the curve. Every time you double the thinking, you only get a little deeper. The first doubling helps a lot. The next helps the same amount. Top of a number already near its ceiling. Each doubling buys you the same little bit. That bit matters less every time. Now put a meter on it because the thinking is not free, my friend. In a recent study, researchers led by Shehem measured the energy of 30 models. Here is what watt-hour feels like. Charging your phone takes about 15 of them. A short, simple question used a bit under half a watt-hour, so less than 1/13 of one phone charge. The same medium question at the lowest thinking setting used a little over 2 watt-hours. At the highest setting, about 17 watt-hours, a little over one phone charge. Same question, more than 7 times the energy spent on the flat part of that curve. Push to a long, hard answer at full effort, and the biggest AIs draw more than 30 watt-hours for a single question. About 2 phone charges. That is more than 70 times the power that short, simple question used. Now, let me give you the counter for this. Biggest AI gains of the last 2 years did not come from bigger trained models. They came from letting models think longer at answer time. Used well, the trade is impressive. A study by Snell and colleagues showed a smaller model that thinks well can beat a model 14 times its size. The same question on a higher thinking setting can cost 7 times the power if you keep your AI on its highest thinking setting. Here is the bill. In a study of 30 models, researchers measured the energy each one used. A short, simple question used a bit under half a watt-hour. The same medium question at the lowest thinking setting used a little over 2 watt-hours. The highest setting, about 17. Same answer, more than 7 times the power spent past the point thinking held. And the heaviest reasoning models drew more than 30 watt-hours for one hard question. That is more than 70 times what a lean model uses. You pay the rest as power you never use. If you want the full breakdown, you must click on the link and watch my long-form video where I have given you the calculations. And if you prefer to read, you can go on my Substack. So thinking is not the enemy. The lesson is that the point where thinking stops helping sits in a different place for every problem. Most of what you send is easy enough that the point comes early. So here is what I would do. Take a sample of your real tasks, run them at a low setting and a high one. Count how often the answer actually gets better. For everyday work, it is hardly ever. Set the dial per task. Send the easy questions cheap and save the deep thinking for the few that are genuinely hard. The question is not whether a model can think longer. It is how much of that thinking is buying you an answer and how much is just heating the building. Next time, in the anatomy of an AI agent, we'll talk about another moving part of these systems. The written version of this video with the numbers that I used for calculation is linked in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments section.